In 1959, we dedicated the campus. We cleared a great portion of the land and built a platform, and we had choirs there, and we had a tremendous program of dedicating the land for this college. The whole community was interested in it. And we had dedicated this land on June 29, I believe that's the June 29, 24 hours before Eisenhower signed the bill of making Alaska a state.
1959 was a year of change. The long and arduous battle for statehood was over. The territory of Alaska, the last frontier, could now assume the role it had fought so hard for, that of the 49th state of the Union. It was a time of hope, of new beginnings, new dreams. And it was here, in Anchorage, amidst the prevailing climate of optimism, that Gordon Gould and many other Alaskan pioneers opened the doors of Alaska Methodist University for the first time. Heralded in headlines from one end of the state to another, it was an auspicious beginning. It was history in the making.
It all began in a moose pasture in the heart of Anchorage. The federal government, I guess, and part of the state too perhaps, has set aside about a large chunk of land here for civic buildings, among which was, they had the, one was for the Arctic research, 40 acres. Another acre, some acres they sold to the Providence Hospital. And we came along and bought 500 acres, 505 acres from them, I think. It was not a gift, we bought it from them, but with stipulation of tax that would be used only for educational purposes. But I think it's natural that statehood and Alaska Pacific University should be born together.
Today, as Alaska Pacific University, it maintains a vital link with the past, while at the same time forging ahead to meet the challenges of tomorrow. This modern campus, with its commanding view of the Chugach Mountains, holds the distinction of being the only private four-year university in the state. Fully accredited with both undergraduate and graduate degree programs, Alaska Pacific University is recognized as one of the top 4 regional liberal arts colleges in America. Although independent in its governance and religious orientation, it is proud to be associated with Methodism's major universities: Duke, Boston University, Syracuse, American University, and Southern Methodist University.
I think it shows the great conviction that people have that no state, no government should have just one type of education. That's one of the great failures of some of the other countries. But when there are various sources of education, we get a great diversity that's very healthy for our country, particularly in the type of pluralistic society and free and open society that we have. Anytime anybody mentions your name, that means you're noticed. And I think this is one of the great signs of growth and progress at Alaska Pacific University, that in a very prestigious national magazine, it's recognized as not only one of the liberal arts colleges around the country, ranks 4, and what it means is that all over the country there are, in the various regions, colleges and universities that are small, but which have gathered some attention. And I think that's the great significance of that mention. Not only were we noticed, but we're also given a very favorable and high ranking in that.
A small private university allows you to be more flexible in its programs, find excellence in its programs. We just received that news last night that we are ranked 4th in the nation as a regional liberal arts college, and that gives us a chance to talk about that and attract more students and develop our programs even further.
I've long had an interest in higher education, and I was really honored to be asked to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees for Alaska Pacific University. I had a strong interest in the university because, first, it was God-centered. It provided a private alternative to higher education, and it dealt with an emphasis on the Pacific Rim relationship of Alaska to the rest of the world, and I felt that was very important, and I felt that I certainly would like to contribute what little I could to the success of this university. We're providing quality education. We're being recognized as such, and would give us an opportunity to increase Alaska Pacific University's recognition around the state and around the United States and the world.
Whether pursuing a 4-year degree or going on to complete a master's or doctoral program, from human resources and education to science and religion, APU offers students a broad range of educational possibilities designed to address the problems of a changing world. But it doesn't begin and end with the courses. APU is unique in that it offers a student-to-faculty ratio of 12:1, almost unheard of on today's campuses. And as for the quality of instruction, a full 80% of the instructors have earned doctorates in their respective fields. That's significant and very telling of the philosophy that guides this institution.
I think the relationship has grown amazingly. We've got a lot of interaction. Of course, you know, in my position as director of theater, I don't know how much closer you can work with the students than what we have to do every year. But I think there's quite a bit of responsiveness going both ways, from the students to the faculty and the faculty to the students. And it's one advantage, I think, of what we do here. We tend to have smaller classes, a lot of interaction, and we try to be available for the students when they need us outside of class, too.
There definitely is a role for a small private institution in Alaska, because we see it happening now at APU. We see that it is being successful. It is attracting a certain sector of the state, and the students that we have tell us over and over again that they're glad that we are here and that they wish that we were in other places.
The variety in students, there's students from freshmen all the way to working people that are trying to finish their degree and balance school, and I really respect that, and I think that that's very time-consuming for them, and that they need a high level of information given to them and a lot of organization in the classes so that they're not wasting their time.
You will have smaller size of class. You got to know your student very well. You can do something which in a greater university you will never be able to do. And if students somehow have problem other than academic, we will be able to find out or detect them earlier so that it will help them to perform better academically, because we can talk about their problem. It's much easier in a smaller university to do that.
Well, first of all, I don't think we teach students anything. I think they learn on their own. And what our job is to do is to simply provide them with opportunities.
More than 1,000 students attend Alaska Pacific University. More than half are from the Anchorage area. At APU, students are not clients. Graduates are not products. APU campus life emphasizes a sense of community, access to faculty, and opportunities for personal initiative.
Well, one of the things we try to really stress here is the fact that it's called a co-curricular education. And that just simply means that what takes place out of the classroom is just as important as what takes in the classroom. And student life is all of those things that take place outside of the classroom.
It's a small school, and I like that. The professors here are close to you. You can go to them if you have a problem with the class, and they can help you. And also, the students are from many different cultures, and just talking to the students, you can learn so much about other cultures that you never dreamed you could learn.
It has provided for me an insight of myself, of other people, of different cultures besides the community I'm from. And it has given me the knowledge of how and why to teach students, and also different techniques of going about it.
I want to go back to the village and help with the problems that they have right now with drugs, alcohols, and the younger generation.
Because APU has chosen to position itself at the forefront of higher education, it attracts students from all over the world. And it's this cultural diversity that adds a richness and texture that is evident in every aspect of campus life.
I come to APU because I was told Alaska is famous for its private and higher education. I'm a graduate student in management science, and the primary reason that brings me here is, I think, it's the graduate citizenship offered by management science.
Universities in the Pacific Rim must provide leadership to help shape its future. The university must educate engineers, managers, scientists, and scholars. Bold new initiatives are being undertaken in international and Pacific Rim programs. There are 44 international students on campus. This week, 4 members of the APU faculty are teaching and conducting research in the People's Republic of China and Taiwan. On October 1st, leading educators, state officials, and industry representatives met on the campus at APU to participate in a panel focusing on the Pacific Rim. Vice President for Academic Affairs Duncan Ferguson is convinced that Pacific Rim studies are essential.
Here at Alaska Pacific University, we take our relationship to other Pacific countries very, very seriously. For some, the emphasis on the Pacific Rim may be mere rhetoric or a slogan rather than substance. We don't want that to be the case here at Alaska Pacific University. We believe that our location and that our time in history gives us a distinct imperative.
We are out here in the Pacific Rim, and our future lies in the Pacific Rim countries for trade and commerce and culture, education. And Alaska Pacific University all offers that tremendous alternative in this field, as well as being a very good liberal arts college.
I feel that as the center of the world economy moving toward the Pacific Rim now, and this is a great place for we to really push a program which will help us to have a greater understanding of the Pacific Rim vitality of its economy there. And to me, this is a challenge which I wish I would be able to really contribute a lot to help to bring this program and to bring the awareness of the Asian culture and history and political system to Alaskan people here.
The writer Melville once noted that civilization is no accident. It requires a constant creation of new kinds of social enrichment. A school of quality finds its place in the community when it provides an environment for the development of leadership skills in its students. In 1971, the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act was signed into law on the APU campus. Alaska Native students make up more than 20% of the student body. Each student here is a partner on a journey to make a difference.
The Alaska Native Institute is important because it provides a smooth transition for Alaska Native students who come from small, remote areas in Alaska. Many of the students come here with very little experience living in an large urban community, and they also have very little experience in an institution this large. Most of them come from schools that have less than 100 high school students, except for little larger regional areas. So we are here to help bridge the gap between the isolation and the large urban community that APU is situated in.
APU has a special responsibility because it's a very unique institution in that it's a private institution, and that allows them flexibility and allows them creativity that a larger university system doesn't have. They have the opportunity to fit their programs around students and keep the high standards that students are looking for.
I have gained more of that leadership skills here than if I went to a larger university.
I think it's a plus for Native students because it gives them a chance to interact. It gives them a chance to be themselves. It gives them a chance to challenge themselves, saying, okay, I'm here, everybody knows so that I can get to know some people, and through interaction, through challenging themselves, they can be able to succeed. Spirit Days is important to the APU community because it's a way, it's a vehicle for the APU to experience Alaska Native and American Indian culture live, to experience our songs, to experience our dance, and through the song and dance experience a part of the culture that they'll never see in Anchorage proper, and where they can share in the openness of Alaska Native culture, and they can share in the honesty and integrity of the culture and become a part of it.
2 years ago, APU launched an ambitious intercollegiate athletic program. Today, more than 70 student athletes compete in volleyball, basketball, and wrestling. Valuable lessons and lifelong values are being taught through competition.
Athletics is very important. In the first place, of course, we're always concerned with movement, with physicality of our characters on the stage. So that's it's very helpful to have people who either have an athletic background or have the sports available for student participation. On the whole, though, the main impact of the athletic program, I think, has been twofold. First of all, it's brought quite a few new students in. And also, I think if you're going to be a university, you need to have athletic programs, just as you need to have a biology lab, you need to have a theater to do theatrical work in. You need to have an active athletic program, and it gives you the feeling, it gives all of us the feeling that we're more real, I suppose.
I want a player to believe that there's no limitations, and so I let them know that they can achieve anything as long as they work for it and believe in it. And that's, you know, that's not just volleyball, but that's whatever they want to accomplish, their career goals. I think that's the biggest thing.
The way I see it, she doesn't really necessarily strive a lot on winning. A lot of it's mental. She wants us to be mentally tough, not only for the games itself, but she wants us to learn how to be able to handle things later on that come down, down the road after we're out of college and things like that.
In 1987, the Center for Religious Study and Service was established to preserve the religious heritage and to endow APU with the vital elements of both ministry and tradition as a complement to the educational experience. Organized in conjunction with the university's Department of Social Sciences, Philosophy, and Religion, it offers courses in the Ministry of Education, assuring ordained and laypersons the opportunity for intellectual and spiritual growth. Historically bound, ecumenically involved, and biblically grounded, the center is the cornerstone of APU's continuing mission to serve God by serving the people of Alaska.
A number of people have wondered how I, as the Archbishop of Anchorage, Catholic, became a board member for a Methodist University. And several things sort of came together at the moment, I guess, to explain it. One is, over the last 20 years, there's been really a dramatic explosion, really, of dialogue among various religions, dialogues, Catholic, Methodist, and so on, ultimately pointed towards unity. And so there's that background when I came to Anchorage 12 years ago. It was also at that time that the university was, the old Alaska Methodist University was going through its, what is euphemistically called an educational sabbatical. And I was asked to join a group of others with the hope of revitalizing the university and more or less bringing it back to life.
One of the university's most exciting research programs is the Center for Polar Research and Education. It takes thousands of years to form a glacier. The landscape of Alaska is God-given. We are the trustees of the land, the wildlife, and the environment. At APU, researchers, scholars, and students work in cooperation with various government agencies. One such project, involving the caribou habitat, is being studied using sophisticated Landsat imagery in cooperation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. In Prince William Sound, APU research associates are conducting studies on sea otters. Tissue samples collected will be analyzed at the National Cancer Institute in Frederick, Maryland, during the winter and spring months.
There's no better place for learning than standing next to a series of people who are experienced in their field. I'm including here not just the traditional scientists such as geologists, but also lawyers, health professionals, and others. This is the type of activity that APU can do so well, and that is to place a student elbow to elbow with people who have had a great deal of experience, considerable education, but have basically an interest in education.
Water is Alaska's most precious natural resource. Development in Alaska cannot occur without water. Experts say that the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge Plan, ANWR, does not currently include water research.
Alaska certainly has a lot of need for more water resources research, more water resources data and information. In many parts of the states, the information level could only be described as rather primitive. Compared to the lower 48 states, Alaska is essentially trailing the nation in the density of water resources information.
Alaska Pacific University has certainly come of age. Yet despite its illustrious history and unique position it enjoys, some people continue to question the role of a private institution in a statewide university system.
Well, Alaska's economy is changing from a construction-based economy to an economy that will increasingly depend on international trade. In order to participate in international trade, you have to know how to do it. And Alaska Pacific University has been one of the leaders in Alaska in terms of getting that knowledge across to our citizens.
You know, in a state as large and as diverse as the state of Alaska, we need all the kinds of educational institutions that we can find. In particular, it's important for us to have innovative, creative kinds of educational opportunities available to our students. A place like Alaska Pacific University that focuses on those creative and innovative programs that bring together students from around the world, and in particular, a program that will address the Pacific Rim and the Great Northwest, is certainly an added bonus for all of us who live in Alaska.
Higher education is very important to Alaskans, and I think a private university is very important to Alaskans to offer an alternative in higher education.
There's definitely room for two state universities, a public and a private. In fact, there's a need. I've always felt that there should be a private alternative, and I believe that Alaska Pacific University, the only four-year private university in the state, fulfills that need.
There certainly is room for Alaska Pacific University. Of course, in part, it's here and it's providing an effective service for a number of years. But more than that, it seems to me that we need an opportunity for students to have some choice as to the type of institution to which they go, the focus of the institution, the pattern of its curriculum, kind of faculty it attracts, kinds of students that it attracts. So it seems to me that the state is very much advantaged in having as much variety in higher education as it can sustain.
30 years ago, Alaskans worked hard for statehood and Alaska Pacific University. This woman, a Matanuska Valley pioneer dairy farmer and APU trustee, is convinced that there is a permanent place in Alaska for APU.
Certainly is here to stay. And although Alaska needs it and we need it, and I've gotten more out of it than I've given to it. So citizens should gather on and take advantage of what they have here. All the programs they have at Grant Hall and everything else for the citizens at large, as well as for the students. And it's, well, you can see how it helps the state grow and helps the people in the state. And I've known quite a few of the students personally, and those students that come from afar or come from near, our own Alaskan natives or people from outside, it means a lot to them, and it's done a lot with their lives, I'm sure.
A major educational institution doesn't, as a matter of course, materialize overnight. It's the product of evolution, slow and sometimes painful. Alaska Pacific University has played an integral part in the history of this state and will continue over the years ahead to be a leader in the field of education.
Oh, the future looks very bright. Everything about the growth of the university looks bright, and the presence of a new president just brings us to another stage. We've had 10 years of revitalization, and now I look to another 10 years of a real maturing process, and I think that's where we are with the university at the present time.
On Saturday, October 1st, F. Thomas Trotter became the 7th president of Alaska Pacific University. Delegates representing more than 170 universities and colleges, including Kanto Gakuin University in Japan, Harvard, Dillard, and the University of Alaska, attended the inauguration at the Alaska Center for the Performing Arts. Students, faculty, alumni, trustees, and the community witnessed the beginning of a new era. Men like Donald E. Bright, Frederick McGinnis, and Glenn Olds kept the dream alive. Now there are promises to keep.
By virtue of the authority granted to me by the Board of Trustees of Alaska Pacific University through their election and instruction, I am pleased to confer upon F. Thomas Trotter the office of President of the University, and to confirm the same by imposing the seal of the University as his sign of office.
This university and the tradition of its founders will provide access to those who may not have had opportunities for higher education and career developments. We will express the elitism of quality, the elitism of care and access, not the elitism of special privilege. We exist for all peoples, and we seek to live out the great ideals of the university and its history, to be a community of learning where truth and justice are valued, and where a truly international community is modeled. I accept this assignment with a deep sense of obligation to all of you, especially to Chairman Carr and the Board of Trustees, and to my colleagues in the faculty, and to the students from whom I derive great energy.